I'm Sharon Weingarten, and today I'm going to give the briefest introduction to Jeff Rabin, the Executive Director of NAMI, who spoke to us last month and initiated such lively discussion that we are going to do part 2 today. So, Jeff, take it away.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Mary. Thank you for everybody for having me come back. Just briefly, for those who didn't meet me last time, my name is Jeff Rabin, and I actually wear 2 hats. Well, I wear multiple hats like we all do in our real lives, but in my work life, I wear 2 hats. The one we're speaking about today is my role as Executive Director of NAMI, National Alliance on Mental Illness, the Cook County North Suburban affiliate. While our clients come from us from everywhere, the bulk of our work covers from Evanston to Northbrook and Park Ridge to Highland Park. But people find us all over, thank you, internet and word of mouth. My other hat, which dovetails with the work I do at NAMI, is for the last 45 years, I have been an attorney who has focused my law firm on representing people who are disabled and are trying to get benefits from the Social Security Administration, Social Security Disability Insurance Benefits, or SSI. And it was that work, working with people with mental illness for so many years, that exposed me to the NAMI world and meeting a lot of NAMI executive directors and people involved with different NAMI affiliates, which led to my becoming a member of the board of directors of NAMI DuPage for 9 years, and then somewhat indirectly being asked to serve as executive director of this affiliate. So the business part of my life led me into this role in the mental health world, and it's been pretty I'm very appreciative of what I've been able to try to accomplish and the people I've been able to work with. So Sharon and I talked about like what to focus on in the second session, and I'd really rather have a discussion with you all. But I think what I'd like to do is what I'm doing with my board tomorrow night at our annual meeting is focus on the future and what we're hoping to accomplish in the next year or two at NAMI CCNS. And we talked about discussing mental health in the workplace, in schools, and in homes, and the different programs that NAMI CCNS offers to businesses, to the education community, and to families, and where we're looking to grow in the next year, and how the Rotary can be a part of that. One of the things we really realized, and Mary and I had a talk about this, was there is, and this is just amazing to me, a real overlap between Rotary and NAMI. And how many of you mentioned that you have served on NAMI boards or have volunteered for NAMI. And I was really, really impressed with that and extremely appreciative of that, and really want to follow up on it, because that's a tremendous opportunity, not just for my local affiliate, but we are starting a discussion of how to entertain relationships between the NAMI all the NAMI affiliates in the Northern Illinois area and this Rotary region. And I think there could be quite a lot of influence we can have on people and the mental health crisis in our community by working together and partnering. And that's where I really appreciate Sharon's work with this whole program of bringing Rotary into the mental health world. So let's start first by talking about some of the things that NAMI CCNS in particular has done in the business community, and that's by bringing our programs and to businesses. And we're very flexible in how this can be done. One of the most successful ways we've done this recently is with our In Our Own Voice program. And In Our Own Voice is a program where people who have lived with mental illness and have tried to move their lives forward, sometimes more successfully, sometimes a little less successfully, but have moved their lives forward, and then are trained by NAMI Illinois in how to make a presentation about what their experience in the real world has been. And they're very powerful presentations. And we get very, very good feedback. We screen our IOOV speakers carefully. but they do bring a dramatic message to people, and that could be done over a simple lunch and learn session. We could expand those lunch and learns also. We have simple programs like mental health kits, just to start the discussion. The whole idea, and one of the things that I'm learning, both in my NAMI world and that I've learned from my Social Security work, is people are afraid to talk about mental health issues. And people go a long time suffering because they're afraid to open up about what's really going inside their bodies and their hearts and in their souls. And because of their failure to do that, they get far more sick. Um, and it's tragic sometimes because things, if they were dealt with early, it might allow them to have kept that job or kept that family relationship, or avoid that trauma if they had been able to discuss their feelings, emotions, their fears, their anxieties, and get the help for that. So just coming into your businesses for an hour during lunchtime and having a discussion could just open up somebody's life and maybe keep them as a productive employee at the business. So whatever would work with you, we will always try to see if we can accommodate it. And if you're a smaller business and there's a concern, we don't have that many people, let's combine a couple, find a neighbor and let's do something together. But we are more than willing to work with the community and try and bring the discussion. And that's what we're really talking about, just the discussion to the business community. Now, the other place where we need to turn our attention to are the schools. And we're very excited today because our program director, Courtney Hall, and our youth program manager, Heather Kendall, are at Notre Dame High School today and tomorrow doing mental health first aid kit presentations for the students there. And Notre Dame wanted them there for 2 full days. So I have no idea how many kids they're going to touch in these 2 days. And again, we're starting to bring the discussion of mental health to the high school students. We have a number of high school programs. Our largest one is called Ending the Silence, and it's a NAMI national program that actually got its start many years ago in NAMI DuPage and was so successful that NAMI National took it over and made it a core program of NAMI. And Ending the Silence is a program that we bring to high school sophomore classes, where we bring in, again, young adults who have been through their own mental health journey. And we teach a class on mental health with the use of that story and that experience. Very powerful. Last year, we did this at a school in Evanston we had never been to, and 2 different kids ran up to our speaker and gave her hugs and told them that now, for the first time, they're going to talk about their feelings and their issues. And we might have saved 2 kids. 2 years ago, we did this at Buffalo Grove High School, and 3 children, high school sophomores, identified themselves at the crisis of self-harm, and nobody knew. The counselors didn't know, the parents didn't know, the teachers didn't know, and we allowed those children to step up and get help. So Ending the Silence is really, really an important NAMI program, and we try to do this at as many schools as we can, and we're trying to grow. So we're very happy that today and tomorrow we're getting our entree into Notre Dame, and hopefully next year be able to bring Ending the Silence, or maybe later this year, bring Ending the Silence. In our budget, which we're hoping to have approved tomorrow night for the upcoming year, we're also talking about expanding a trial program that Heather here created called How to Survive the High School Transition. And what we've learned, and I think most of us who have had children move from high school to college have known with trepidation that first year of out of the nest is a scary year. And studies show that that first year of college is a prime time for young adults to begin suffering their first mental health crises and their first mental health symptoms, because they're away from that family structure, they're away from the high school structure, they're having their first experience with total independence, and many symptoms of bipolar and schizophrenia and anxiety show up that first year of college. So we created our own program for high school seniors. We presented it at Now's West. We got feedback. We've refined it. And now we want to refine it even further. And we have bids out to add some professional video to it, because right now we have to recruit college students to come in, and that's just not scalable in the real world. Get college students to take time off to come to high schools around our area. So we're looking to expand that program. Again, I'm going to keep coming back to this. It's to create conversation. It's to make people not afraid. Uh, a college or a high school football tackle goes and breaks his arm, and his dad's going to go around saying, my kid broke his arm tackling that guy or blocking that guy, against Niles North High School. But if that same child suffers from depression and misses a game, is the same dad going to go walking around and saying, "Oh, my son has severe depression and couldn't make that game"? I doubt it, but he should be able to, and he should be able to do it without fear and without embarrassment and without shame. So that's where we're going with our programming. That's one of our goals at NAMI. Let's go one more step, and then we'll just try and just do discussion. We want to bring this same opening up of freedom of discussion and conversation on mental health to the homes. And one of the key core programs of NAMI, if you're not aware of it, is our Family to Family program. And Family to Family program is an 8-week session. We had a 9th week here at NAMI CCNS because I claim that 9th week to talk about disability law and NAMI and trying to keep the parents involved with us. But Family to Family is a class, an 8-week class, not a support group, not a pity party, but a class for parents of adult children with mental illness. I cannot tell you how many people have come up to me in all these years and said, "Jeff, Family to Family saved my family," or "Family to Family saved my marriage," or "Family to Family allowed me to rebuild my relationship with my non-mentally ill children," because they're so impacted by the trauma that mental illness brings into the family. It's a very powerful program. And we've been running 4 sessions a year in our new strategic plan, which I hope is adopted tomorrow night. I expect it will be. We're looking to expand it to 6, and we've already achieved that this year with going up to 5. We just added a 5th class. So we finished one last week. We have another one starting in September. And just if you follow on our website, you'll know when our classes are. But wherever your Rotary is located, any parent that you talk to who is just describing the frustration or the fear of what's going on in their family with their child, please encourage them to look at their local NAMI for a family to family class. I guarantee it's a game changer. I've had families never thank me for winning their child's SSI case as a lawyer, but send me candy or notes thanking me for getting them into family to family because it made such a difference. And in fact, I'm trying for December 4th to have a local family to family reunion just of all of our family to family graduates. And more important than that, we did start a new program at the end of last year and in the summer called Family Insight, which is a graduate program for family to family graduates. It's a follow-up and it meets monthly. It's taught by some of our family to family teachers. It is sort of a NAMI national program, but 2 local teachers here modified the curriculum and we changed it. What's really exciting is at our first one, and I think it was in May, we had 4 people show up, which we were excited about. At our 4th one last week, 32. So as we've gained traction and people start talking about it, parents are realizing, 8-week class is great, but life struggles continue on past that 8 weeks. And Family Insight, we break it up. Half is education, half is support group. We're getting really, really good feedback. In fact, 32 is too many. And if we continue getting those kind of numbers, We're going to have to talk about adding more classes and getting more teachers. We had Bonnie Lane. I think a lot of you may know Bonnie Lane. She is a really local expert on working with families with mental illness, and she was the speaker at the last Family Insight. What Courtney is trying to do is bring in people to speak at each of the Family Insight meetings. So how can Rotary help? Somebody posted that, and I really appreciate that question. It's discussion. It's bringing this information to your membership. I'll come speak at and meet. I'd love to come to a breakfast or one of your Rotary meetings and talk about this to the local companies. NAMI, and I'm not here to hustle money, but NAMI doesn't charge for anything. All of our programs are free, and we survive on relationships. We survive because we show to the local townships and to the local communities that we're reaching more people. We show that to our donors. We show that to the foundations. We take no government money in the sense of we don't take any state money and we don't take any federal money. We do get some support from the local townships, but we do that by reaching more people. So if you talk about NAMI programs at the Rotary, and people come to our programs and get the benefit, we have bigger numbers. If we have bigger numbers, we can go to more donors and say, look how many people we're helping. The other way is, and I have to bring this up or I'll get my wrist slapped, is come to our events. So 2 events coming up. The big one, September 27th in Glenview at Gallery Park in the Glen, is our NAMI Walk. And this is next to the gala, our largest fundraiser of the year. And it's very low key. If you come out there, you'll meet Milo, my little Bernedoodle, who got himself skunked last night. And this morning was an emergency trip to the groomer to get him cleaned up because my car stunk. But you'll meet Milo. We're adding a little kids fest. So if you have kids or grandkids that want to get their face painted or play with bubbles or whatever, or do stickers on water bottles, come out to the walk on Saturday the 27th. If you like music, on the 20th of September, we're doing something new at a bar in Highwood, and oh my God, I'm mental blocking the name of the bar, so excuse me while I Google it real quick. But there's a bar in Highwood that is donating the bar for that night. It's called Pantapalooza. It's called the Toadstool. I'm sorry. I should have remembered that. In Highwood. And they're having 5 bands there with no cover charge. The bands are all donating their evening, and any money that people put in the bucket or click the QR code or buy a T-shirt is going to come to support our work. So if you want to have a beer and you want to listen to live music with no cover charge, and some of these bands are apparently very well known in the area, come on out to the Toadstool on September 20th, and we're kind of excited about that. But the walk is our big thing, and we'd really love if you'd come to the walk, get a team, get some of the companies to put together teams and come out. Anybody that donates over $100 will get a NAMI T-shirt. One of the big sponsors there, of course, is my law firm. So you'll get my law firm name emblazoned on your back because I do put my money where my mouth is, aside from my time. So, but Family Insight, family to family. And then the other new thing that we're doing this year, and it's just opened up now, so it's out there for registration. And Courtney in particular, our program director, is really excited about this, is a new peer-to-peer class. So NAMI is known for its support groups, and we run lots of support groups, and you can get those off of our website. But peer-to-peer is a new class, 8 weeks, taught by peers who've been through the program and then specially trained by NAMI Illinois to work with people with mental illness. So family to family is the class for parents, and peer to peer is the class for people with mental illness. That'll be starting, I believe, the end of this month. And so if you know people who could benefit from this or who have family members that could benefit from this, let them know about us. NAMI Lake County, NAMI McHenry, NAMI Metro, NAMI DuPage, to a certain extent, NAMI Northwest, all run similar programs. We all vary. We have a lot of independence and flexibility. But the whole idea is that NAMI is there to support your employees, your members, your businesses, to keep people active, to keep people working, to keep people productive, and to try to keep people away from that cliff where mental illness just pushes them over the edge into a place where they're not able to work or not be productive, or not able to function with their family and friends. And we really, really want to avoid people getting to that point. And if we can do that at NAMI, then our days are meaningful and we've accomplished something. So I'm very proud of what we've done at NAMI CCNS. I'm proud to be a part of the NAMI national community. Of course, I get frustrated. We all get frustrated. Bureaucracies are real. Day-to-day life issues are real. But what we've accomplished so far and what we have planned for the next year is really exciting. And to the extent we can partner with the local business communities, with the local faith communities, we're right there and we're ready to go and we're ready. So, okay, I've done a lot of talking. I don't know what else was in the chat. I just saw that one. John, I agree with you. Ending the silence and family to family are really two core programs for what we do and really do impact a lot of people. And Mary, any other ideas than what I suggested in terms of how we can interact with Rotary?
May I ask a
No,
question?
there are some clubs that either have done community mental health days sort of in conjunction with their park district or wherever, and they've had tables set up. And I think that having your materials there would be great. I don't know necessarily how we find out what clubs are doing that. I mean, Barrington did one, Deerfield is planning one. I think that would be great and get the Rotarians to support that either financially or volunteering to man the table. That kind of thing would be.
That would be fantastic. I mean, we only have one full-time employee, and that's our
Yeah.
program director. The rest are all volunteers, or we have
Mhm.
4 part-time people like myself who
Right.
split our time up. We're always looking for volunteers. We're still looking for some volunteers for the walk in September.
Hmm.
So
Jeff,
Yeah, I think getting the information about the walk, because that's very soon on the calendar, would be a great idea for the clubs. We have a 411, as most of the Rotarians on this list know, and that's how we publicize this mental health speaker series. We probably could put that on at least once or twice to get that out there.
should I forward this to you and
Yeah.
Sharon, our walk flyer? And
That would be great.
okay, I will
And I
when we're
said the
done.
same to Greg. We can definitely, I think, put the McHenry one out on the website. The mental health page doesn't get a lot of readership, doesn't get a lot of traffic, but it's a start. And if once it's out there, we can spread the word that it's out there, and then people can pick it up from there.
And one of the things we're learning with, as we expand our social media and internet presence, is the more your name is out there on legitimate sites and legitimate places, the more Google respects you as a trusted source and more people find you. So every little bit helps. Greg, I love the people at NAMI McHenry. They are some of my favorite friends in the NAMI world. And so I'm glad you're aware of them, and I'm glad you're associated with them. They're very, very good people.
Jeff, I'm going to put on my teacher hat for a minute. I'm not one to be monitoring the chat nor do anything with the word technology in it. However, I saw that John Bear had a hand raise. I'm going to just suggest you either hit the little hand raise button on the bottom or literally raise your hand so that we can have more of a discussion. John.
So
I
I'm going to
see
do this.
Gita, I
John,
see
then
Gita,
Gita, then
Stan,
Stan.
yeah, John, yeah.
Just a encouragement remark to our team, Mary and Sharon, all people from Rotary. Let's invite Jeff back. Let's continue this. And by the way, Rotary really needs to be recognized for what we're doing. And Jeff, as you know, I'm a research psychologist and a clinical psychologist for many years, Evanston Hospital and at the federal level. And what kills suicide, and this I researched this, is shame. And shame, unspeakable shame, is what these programs you're doing reduces unspeakable shame. Let's talk about mental illness. Let's talk about emotional problems. And so thank you for your work. And I look forward to meeting you at the Toadstool.
Oh, good. I'm glad. That'll be fun. Thank you. Thank you. Gita, you were next, and then Stan.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for your presentation. Special thanks to Rotary for setting this up. So I represent the city of Highland Park, and we're in regular communication with neighboring communities as well. And so as a local government, we have definitely seen an increased number of mental health calls, specifically as it relates to our police department responding to calls. Now, my understanding is that like a decade ago, long ago, the state of Illinois and federal government hand in hand cut funding significantly to mental health agencies. And so now we are seeing kind of the ripple effect of that. And I guess I'm just wondering as an organization, are you familiar with that? And then is there any effort to coordinate and look at either legislation or a concerted effort to get more funding so these mental health calls don't become 911 calls?
Okay, so a lot to unpack there, and I'm going to walk into politics, and I am sorry. This isn't a total picture of my own politics, but it does because of my legal work, in particular, as well as my NAMI work. It just showed some of my beliefs. Okay, mental health funding has been a issue in Illinois since Governor Rauner, when he closed, for whatever budget reasons there were, a number of mental health programs. The biggest one was when he ended up closing, because public aid just didn't pay its bills, the main township mental health program, and literally 20,000 patients had providers one day and did not have providers the next day. Two things are happening right now. One is the ending of the support for premiums under the Affordable Care Act. So the big, beautiful bill on July 4th, as part of it, ended the premium supports that had been put into place during the pandemic to help make the premiums for health care under the Affordable Care Act affordable. And the number of people covered by health insurance under the Affordable Care Act jumped literally by millions as a result of those premium supports. Those are ending on December 31st. And depending on what source, which is like all of our news these days, you can expect premiums under the Affordable Care Act for those policies to go up anywhere from 25 to 100%. And people will just drop them. They'll be unaffordable for most people. So you're going to find far more people uninsured after January 1. Now, combine that with the cutbacks to Medicaid. Now, those cutbacks don't go into effect until 2027 because for pure political reasons, they were pushed back until after the midterm elections. So for 2026, people in Illinois will be okay to a certain extent, because if they have incomes under $18,000, they'll be able to get expanded Medicaid. We are an expanded Medicaid state. Now, I have an attorney who works for me in Knoxville, Tennessee. They don't have expanded Medicaid, so those people are going to be totally out of luck, even more so than they are now. So for people under, it's like 18 or 19,000 in Illinois, so that includes like a lot of 25-year-old bipolars. They'll still be able to get expanded Medicaid in Illinois until 2027 and be able to get treatment at places that accept Medicaid. And certainly for emergency situations like Lake Behavioral Hospital is there. And there are some agencies out there like Turning Point that take Medicaid patients, Turning Point's where we share our offices in Skokie. It's not a great answer, but it's an answer. In Illinois, Governor Pritzker has done a good job of trying to expand support for mental health programs, more so than in most other states. And there's a lot of things I don't necessarily agree with Governor Pritzker, but he does deserve recognition for recognizing the mental health crisis and doing what he can. So what we've done, we did this recently with the Des Plaines Police Department, is we sent our team there to talk to the police officers and talk to them about mental health. In NAMI DuPage, for a while, we actually had a former police officer, police department social worker on our board. And we did very formal presentations to police departments on how to approach people with mental health issues. Our program at the Des Plaines Police Department, done by our staff, was actually very well received. So, I don't want to mispronounce it. Is it Gita? Gita?
It's Gita.
Gita. If you'd like us to have a conversation with the Highland Park Police Department, we'd love to. My son, daughter-in-law, and grandchildren live in Highland Park, so
Hopefully they say we're taking good care of them. Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. And I think more like as we think regionally, I think there is value in having mental health agencies partner with municipalities and share that, because of everything happening and the impacts to these mental health agencies, we are seeing more 911 calls. I mean, I've been doing this for 32 years, and the number of 911 calls to address mental health is significant. Our fire chief is on this as well. In Champaign and in Kansas City, there were firefighters that were stabbed being transported to the hospital by individuals who were not mentally well. And so, we don't have our firefighters are not armed, to protect themselves in that regard. So we are just seeing more 911 calls as a result of mental health illness. And so we want to do what we can to make sure that individuals get the help they need before it's a 911 call.
Right.
So anything we could do to partner together would be great.
So 2 years ago, I was invited to a meeting. I think it was the Wilmette city manager, Brayman. I knew his dad.
Yeah, Mike Brayman.
Yes,
Yeah.
So Mike was a very bright guy, and he was trying to organize, and then I never got any follow-up from them. So I don't know whatever happened with that, but maybe we can do that on a broader scale than just Wilmette and take a lot of the North Shore. In fact, we'd figure out how to sponsor or how to run it if you thought that would be useful. But I'd love to form a coalition of city managers, police chiefs, and fire chiefs to meet once a quarter someplace to bounce best practices, ideas. I know the Wilmette Police Department told me at that time that they already had 4 full-time social workers, I believe. And I may be wrong on that, but they did. I know they had at least some full-time social workers on their staffs to answer mental health calls.
Okay.
As opposed to.
Well, thank you. I don't want to monopolize. Thank you for answering my question, and we'll definitely follow up with you.
That'd be great. Thank you. And I didn't mean to go on and on, but my brain is churning now. Stan.
Yes. Thank you for your volunteering. I've been on the, I'm in Wisconsin. I've been on the board of Walworth County, NAMI. A very valuable experience.
Mhm.
It opened my eyes to a lot of things. I had Googled some very disturbing news, and that is that, and I don't know where it took place, some couple of people committed suicide because they were listening to some AI thing. And which is very disturbing because AI is being used more and more. And these young people, listen to this stuff, and it influences their behavior, to say the least.
So I totally agree with you. And since I've gotten here, I've tried to see how to develop a focus not only on AI and ChatGPT, which didn't even exist 3 years ago, but just on total screen time and internet community involvement by young people. Yeah, both those cases, one with ChatGPT and one with an AI therapy program,
Okay.
were both chilling disasters. And I know that had a spark discussion in the ChatGPT community, and I'm hoping that they are responding to that and trying to put in some kind of safeguards or walls to protect that from happening. But the truth is, my wife and I were talking about it this morning. The AI is going to take over this world. Everything we do is going to be changed. But we would never, ever recommend anybody use AI or ChatGPT for therapy or support. Got to have a person. I mean,
But I've been to a number of sessions up in Madison for mental health, and there's a new industry or group of people who are trying to use the iPhone to reach people who cannot get immediate psychiatric help because they're isolated. And it seems like it could work, people consulting their phone or talking to somebody. But now this AI has really been more aggressive, and it's just there's some promise to using the iPhone, being able to consult with a psychiatrist on the phone rather than having to drive 20, 30, 50 miles for that.
so a lot of my clients in the law firm use telehealth, and I don't have a problem with that. It's a reality in this world, and especially with the shortage of therapists, there's a huge shortage
Right.
of mental health professionals. I have clients that just cannot get counselors and cannot get psychiatric care, and if they do get psychiatric care, it's 10 minutes. Are you homicidal? Are you suicidal? How's your sleep? And here's your pills. So I won't
Yeah.
even represent a disability client who isn't in treatment with a human therapist. But if they do it over the phone or over Zoom, I don't believe it's best. I'm kind of old fashioned, but it's certainly better than no treatment.
Right.
But I would never, ever allow one of my clients, friends, or family members to treat with a robot, or AI or ChatGPT. Um, we're not there yet. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I just wanted to put that out there. There are good points
Thank
to
you, Kevin.
telehealth and negative points to it. You just can't.
True,
That's
true,
with
but
every new invention.
true.
Every new invention. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Sharon.
Jeff, I'm a big proponent of collaboration, and as I've got a couple of things I jotted down, but let me ask you the first one. Do you collaborate with other just local agencies? The first one that came to my mind is in this part of our discussion was Erica's Lighthouse.
We've worked with Erica's Lighthouse through New Trier when we were trying to do our Ending the Silence. At New Trier, it just isn't necessary because they do a good job. We work with No Shame on You. We just started working with Hinda's, oh my gosh, I'm mental blocking, Hinda's Association, I believe. And they work with recently released prisoners and people with mental health, and they're expanding and doing very well. We've done the resource fair at several times at the Frisbee Senior Center in Des Plaines. They're very good people over there. We've worked with JCFS. So yes, we partner.
Yes.
One of our goals is to partner. We're so little that we need those kinds of partnerships to accomplish certain programs. And then I have my own ego and I want to do some of it ourselves, but that's just
Sure.
because of who I am. I'm pretty free to admit that. But yeah, no, and we've done work with Medline, and we look to expand our relationships with them. So yeah, no, we're all, and I want to partner with the Rotaries. I think you guys offer a lot of contacts, and there's need internally as we dig deeper down into Rotary membership. We know there's need that we could help meet or just steer to the appropriate resources and just be a resource for leaders in the community who say, hey, I need somebody that does this. And the one thing that I'm good at after 45 years in this community, in the disability world, is matchmaking. And I know lots and lots of people and lots of organizations. So I would love
Are
to
you
do that.
familiar with American Legion? The
Oh.
American Legion is into, the soldiers, the veterans who are suffering from mental illness.
Again, both
you know-
my legal work and NAMI work. And we offer 2 veterans work groups here at NAMI through the North Chicago VA.
Okay.
I hope I'm gonna be able to set a precedent here is the opportunity to be able to offer something. I have well, it's been over 20 years worth of writings of kids to a prompt called What I Wish You Knew. And I put it in a book. There is a book called What I Wish You Knew, Conversations with Teens, which could be the opening of conversations with teens on more like mental health as opposed to mental illness. But I'd like to make a gift of we'll start with 100 copies of that for NAMI to use.
Oh my gosh, Sharon, thank you so much. Thank you. And you know what I would do is I would share some of those with some of the local NAMIs also. But
If
yes, we could, and
anybody wants to take,
we would
if
put
anybody
this
wants
out
to
at
take a
our,
look.
we would put this out at our programs, and we have programs coming up at Buffalo Grove and Rolling Meadows this
Sure.
month, and Niles West later. And just having that out there for parents as a resource, that would be amazingly generous.
Well, they're
Thank you
good
so much.
conversation starters because they're written by kids, and I'm not here to tout this little book, which is a little book, but it's got some meat in it that could be useful to you. And if anyone else is interested, I think it's $10 or $12 on Amazon. And it's got an unwieldy name, so you can just Google my name and it pops up. But yeah, that could be the beginning of a little program on mental health, maybe stopping some problems, or at least starting some conversations with your kids.
I mean, everything is about conversation, and
Sure.
John was right. It's all about not being afraid to have that first sentence,
Yeah.
I need
And
help,
let that-
or I'm thinking about this, or can we talk about this,
Mhm.
to a parent or to a friend or to a teacher or to a rabbi or a priest. If a person can just say, can we talk about something? They have now opened the door to a whole new path in their life, hopefully. I know this sounds preachy, but I've found it really does work. So, no, I would, my schedule is busy, but I would love to come to, it doesn't even have to be in our catchment area, although if it isn't, I probably have to ethically direct you to the local NAMI first. But if you don't know that person, I can make the introduction. But I would love to come to some of the Rotary groups and just listen and talk, or just be there as a resource. Or if any of them want to talk about Social Security, boy, do I have opinions on Social Security and real life experience and thoughts about, you know, where that program's going, because that affects every single person living in this country. With 70 million people right now getting Social Security checks every single month, it's the biggest single, it's larger than most countries.
My guess is you're going to get a lot of invitations to speak.
This is what I love to do. I hate doing reports and I'm terrible at budgets and I absolutely suck at statistics. But I love to just talk and explore and just try to create new ideas and new partnerships and new concepts and try and help people and solve problems. That's why I'm in this job.
Set up
This is Marie. Hello, this is Marie Markle, and I'm with the Elgin Breakfast Rotary. If I could
Hi.
interrupt. Hi, I'm going to need to sign off here in just a little bit, but what I've done is I've connected these Zoom meetings with my local medical society. They're very interested in mental health for their patients. So this is the Kane County Medical Society. So I'm suggesting that they would be very interested in your program, other medical societies, because physicians don't know how to handle this sort of thing. Medical people just need to have more education. So that's what I'm recommending.
So I love that. And what I would like to do is do a little panel and have myself and the local NAMI person. And then I have very good relationships at the Ecker Mental Health Center in Elgin. I've worked with them for many, many, many years, and they're very, very good. And if we just had a little 3-person panel with coffee and donuts and an hour of time, we could cover a lot of ground.
I may be able to set that up for you.
You give me a couple of times, I'll make the phone calls and I'll be there.
Okay, I'll see what I can do for you.
This is the ultimate in matchmaking. This is great. This is wonderful. We've gone over our allotted time and it's fine with me, and it looks like it's fine with some people who are still on, but we probably should have a parameter. Want to go 5 more minutes?
That's fine with, I mean, I'm here. I love these
All
discussions.
right, and you're going to be coming back. So
Excuse me,
Greg.
Go ahead, Greg.
I'm gonna
Thank
let
you,
you.
Marie.
Thank you.
Am I on mute? No.
Yeah, no, you're good,
I
Greg.
put in the chat an article that should be unlocked so anybody can open it, from what my mother used to call my communist newspaper, the phony failing New York Times. It was in the op-ed section, but it's a recounting of a woman's daughter who was using ChatGPT as her therapist, which they didn't know until after she died. So it's pretty compelling. I don't know what to do with it other than kind of it underscores your point.
well, if we can do parent groups to open these conversations with kids, one is we've got a parent who can facilitate getting the kind of help they need, and to publicize awful things like that because it's so important.
What I'm going to do,
It
Greg,
doesn't
is,
just end up in recycling.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to send that to all of my family to family teachers and to all of my family insight teachers and to all of my facilitators. So that'll reach, 400 or 500 people pretty quickly, because they'll talk to their groups about it and we'll start getting the word out through our little NAMI. And I'll also send a copy of this to Jerry Kurger, who's the executive director of NAMI DuPage, and suggest, I've already put it on my screen, so I have it, and suggest that she do the same with her facilitators and her teachers. And, let's make, everybody's kind of aware of it, but I just kind of looked at this article briefly over your shoulder at the screen I have behind you, and this is pretty compelling and scary stuff.
I think the families are suing the website.
They are.
Yeah,
I don't know what
I do
happened.
not know, Jeff, I do not know if there's a limit on the number of times that can be opened. It's unlocked. I get so many gift articles I can give out per month. So let me know if you run into a roadblock. I'll see if there's a way around it, but you might just want to print as a PDF or something just in case.
So it's funny that you said that, because while you were talking and scaring me about it, it's exactly what I just did. Oh, you know, I love, you know, the New York Times is the New York Times, and if I stole something from them, I'm a bad guy. But I just saved it as a PDF.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, if worst come to worst, I'm a believer in following the copyright laws. So if you run into that, I'd be willing to spring for whatever fee there is to keep us
Well,
honest.
he's a lawyer. He'll get you off.
No, thank you. No, and actually, just a quick little story. Years ago, before I came here, NAMI CCNS had a part-time guy do their website. And when I got here, we migrated to a more professional firm that did it for pro bono to help us. And now we're paying for another firm and we're totally redoing our site. But the young person who did it as a volunteer used photographs he shouldn't have used. And last year I had to pay settlements out of NAMI CCNS money to both Reuters and the Associated Press for 2 photographs that you couldn't even find anymore because they weren't live pages, but they were still attached to the website. So Google Spiders found them, and the law firm out of California wouldn't let me off the hook. And I had to pay a couple of $1,000s to each, the Reuters and the AP, because somebody inappropriately used photographs that I didn't even know we had, because can't see them anymore. They're buried deep in the bowels of the old website. So I agree with you, and I paid the money, and I had to explain it to my board.
It's
But
kind of the internet version of
it,
ambulance chasers, right?
it's kind of what I said to them, but I was trying to make nice to try to get a decreased amount, and they worked with me, but still, for our little not-for-profit, it was a hit.
Yeah.
It's a scary story. I mean, it's a real world story, and you never think about it when you're building a web. You see photographs, there's no attribution, you pick them up, but there is attribution.
We've had a bit of attrition here because of the time, I know.
Yes.
It's close to 1, and I think we should conclude and say a major thank you once again, Jeff, and welcome in advance for the next time you're on. Okay.
And please, let me just give you my emails, because
Yes, please.
please reach out. It's J Rabin, so the letter J, RAB as in baseball, IN, at NAMICCNS.org. And if you just Google my name, because of the law firm and stuff, I'm all over the internet. You can always track me through the law firm. I have all my emails open all the time. I'm constantly checking, and my wife works in the law firm with me, so she's pretty understanding of it. Yeah, please reach out if there's anything we can do. Sharon, Mary, Rotary, thank you so much for having me. And this is always fun. And come to the walk. We'll see you in Glenview on the 27th. Please, we'll have some fun, or at
Send
the
me
bar.
the flyer, Jeff. Send me that flyer really quickly and we'll get that out.
Soon as we hang up, I won't even get up from my chair.
Good. Okay.
Thanks.
All right.
All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for everybody for
Take care.
participating.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.